What's going on, everybody? Happy Thursday, Friday, Saturday, whenever you're listening. I got to come up with a better intro than that. I've been doing that for too long. Whatever you're doing, though, whatever day you're watching, hope it's going well. It's definitely going well over here. Reason for that, pay-per-view season, always good. Not the best pay-per-view on paper, relatively speaking, when you compare to some others we've seen. Most definitely some other better pay-per-views out there, but 2 5-round fights, always great for DFS. And 200 big ones up top. I had to put the SHIPIT hat out here this week. Shipping 200K. Hey, I'll split that with a couple friends. Heck, even I'll split that with 10 friends. Big boy prizes out there. Super pumped for that. UFC 315, Montreal, Quebec, Canada. How we doing, Big Marley?
Yeah, I'm good. Glad to have a pay-per-view. We got 2 5-round fights. I think most or a lot of the ownership's going to go to those two, and then we can kind of get a little spread out around that. I do think there's some clear fades. There's some clear chalkier plays. So you kind of got to get lucky, I think, with a couple lower owned plays on this card, and hopefully you could talk me into who those will be.
Yeah, I got a pretty good feeling about this one as well. So my broad slate overview quick. Obviously, the 2 5-round fights. Look at the pricing. I mean, it looks really good. A lot of volume for Furo, some takedown upside for Valentina. Jack Della, great striking, great volume. Bilal, a wrestler. So both of them will be jammed very heavily. There's no doubt about that. But after that, by far these prelim fights and the bottom of the card, I have more interest in these top of the card. And it's not a hot take, but look at plus 290 to finish, or plus 290 to finish, plus 275 to finish, plus 225 to finish. When we rattle off the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fights right here, and the order might be a little different. Benoit, Alvarez was supposed to take place. So I put this Monday in Tapology order. We're going to go based on the stone. Might be a couple fights different there, but how we have it right now, obviously the 2 clear fights, Bilal and Manel Furo, going to get ownership, very good to target. But otherwise, give me the prelim fights over the main card fights all day long. And again, ownership kind of reflects that. Going to have to pick our spots, be different in one spot, leave a bit of salary. As you guys know, MMA, roster construction, dupe sport, similar to NFL Showdown, but excited for this one. Nate D in here. Chris Air, what's going on? You don't need the winners. You always got the winners, Chris, especially on FanDuel back in the day. I don't know if you're still grinding the $2,000 up top. I hope you're doing well, Chris. Always good to see you. Any broad slate overview for you, Big Marley, before we go fight by fight?
No, nothing extra. I think I'm ready to jump into it.
Ready to jump into it. Man, a few words. You absolutely love to see that. First of all, before we do jump in, though, we do have a promo going. DGen75 is the promo code. Usually $99 for all of our content with SaberSim Core, with the best Discord around. Use that promo code DGen75, $75 off your first month, just $24, and you get SaberSim, and you get access to the best Discord for the first month. Less than $1 a day. Absolutely cannot beat that. Bottom to top, like always, first fight of the night should be a banger. Again, right now, I don't know the exact order. I put this on Tapology. I'm talking like it's the first fight of the night, though. The bout orders mean nothing for DFS. One of the biggest misconceptions, or what people I think do wrong, oh, I don't want to be too overexposed to this first fight or too underexposed because I don't want to be dead right away. It means absolutely nothing. Every fight's independent to each other. So if people want to do that, I mean, I would embrace the other way if I like the fight, but it means absolutely nothing. So first fight on the card, Daniel Santos, the underdog and more expensive, plus 105. Jung Young Lee, minus 125. Minus 160 for this fight to finish. Lee, plus 175 inside the distance. Santos, plus 205. So I put this up on Monday, Big Marley. You can see Monday, it was a straight pick'em. Lee's taking money. Now he's minus 125. This fight opened Santos minus 175. And slowly but surely, monies came in on the Lee side. Another big thing that stands out to me before I throw it to you, much smaller fighter is Santos. 3 inches in height for Lee, 6 inches in reach. And that is because Santos is coming up a weight class, fighting at 145 for the first time. I do expect Lee to be the bigger, the stronger fighter. And that's my pick. I think it's a close fight. I think both are solid. Give me the guy that's actually a natural 145, or I think he'll hit a little bit harder. Santos shoot the box guy, though. So what's going to happen in this one?
Yeah, I don't really know on this one. I don't have a lean either way, to be honest with you. I think Lee is probably more likely to get a finish, but I think Santos would be more aggressive, like pace-wise, and maybe I'd give him the slight edge on the cards. Maybe that leads to Lee being my preferred play because he is cheaper, and if he gets the finish, I'd imagine him having the higher ceiling, where Santos, I think he's going to have a tough time even hitting 10x. So this is closer to a 2-star for me than it is a 4-star. But I just don't have any strong play, so I don't want to throw both into the pot. I'll probably try and pick more of a side later in the week, see where this line goes. But I could see me being underweight to both, and then maybe with Lee as my preferred play just to save salary because I think I'm going to need it.
So this is a fight that has to be underowned, or I shouldn't use the word underowned. It has to be low owned. And the reason for that is the mid-tier completely opposite of last week. Last week, the mid-tier was as bad as it gets. This week, the mid-tier is pretty much as strong as it gets. The Bilal, that's not technically in the mid-tier, but by no means does he break the bank. If he was 9,500, we'd still absolutely love him. Barriault, Shevchenko, 25 minutes, obviously going to get way more ownership. Marc-Andre Barriault, Bruno Silva, this fight's minus 220 to finish, one of the most likely on the card, going to be higher owned. Go down. Ion Cutelaba Bukauskas, who we're going to talk about, every Ion Cutelaba fight's a good one to target. So all of those are going to get a lot more ownership. And I do think we see Lee coming a good bit higher owned than Santos, maybe like a 25 Lee of 16 Santos or something like that, because he's 400 more on a card where we're not starving for salary, or salary's not that tight, but it's decently tight. I don't think there's too many. There's not a multiple underdogs people are jumping to play 7,500 and below. So people will use that 400 savings, better inside the distance prop, and a better money line. But both inside distance props are solid. Plus 175 for Lee, plus 205 for Santos. Like if Santos gets a finish, plus 205, let me get the odds converter out. My math isn't as sharp as Big Marley's right at the top of the dome, but 32.8% for Santos to finish this fight. He might be half that in ownership. So just when I'm saying that, and I know I want to play both 5-round fights a good amount, I can play Bilal, I can play Firo, I can play Santos. Then I could play Cutelaba and Marc-Andre Barriault. Like I can jam the mid-tier that hard, and I'm not giving up that much salary or that much upside, and you can leave a lot of salary. So I do have Lee winning. He's my preferred side, even though I think he's higher owned. Still easy to leave money with him as well. But in chalkier team spots, I'm looking to get different. This is a fight I will be targeting to get different because it's minus 160 to finish, and it's just going to be low owned because the tier is so good. And these guys can put on a high pace. I think we could get a good scrap early. So probably a fight I'm overweight to, but yeah, going to have to see final ownership and look at the numbers. Any thoughts before we get to the next one?
Santos scored more than I thought he did in his last 2 fights, which – I mean, I thought he was active, but I didn't even think he was that active. So maybe I'm going to have to go back and rewatch him.
Castaneda fight was great.
You might have talked me into this being closer to a 4-star than a 2-star, to be honest with you. So, yeah, I had no real lean. I'll probably check out your notes after this, and I'm more interested than I was, that's for sure.
Yeah, and a lot of it, again, because the mid-tier is so strong, this is the fight I think that gets overlooked, and it's supposed to finish. We have 12 fights. If we had 14 fights, I'd probably have a little less interest in it. But, yeah, you got to worry more about game theory stuff as the fights dwindle. What's going on, YSM? Appreciate you hanging out with us. Appreciate all you guys hanging out. Let's keep it rolling. Next fight on the card. Oh, yeah, the fight odds in this order is different. Ion Cutelaba, minus 123. Modestas Bukauskas, plus 103. Minus 210 for this fight to finish. Cutelaba, plus 135 inside the distance. Bukauskas, plus 200. In round 1 props, Cutelaba plus 350, Bukauskas plus 525 in round 1. Another line movement, a little bit of change. On Monday, Bukauskas was the favorite at minus 119. Now he's the underdog, pretty much flipped since Monday. Cutelaba minus 123. What I'll say, and then I'll throw it to you, if I'm fading one of the 2 main events, I'm almost surely going to have one of these 2 fighters, and probably more than likely it'll be Cutelaba. When he wins, he almost always scores. Bukauskas, he's fighting a guy that really pushes the pace. So usually I like targeting both sides of Cutelaba. That's the case. But if Cutelaba wins, I feel good he scores high. If Bukauskas wins, I don't know. I'll throw it to you on that. If I'm telling you Bukauskas wins before you break down the fight, what do you think he scores on average?
If he wins a decision, I think he scores in the 60s. If he gets a third round knockout, then he's probably like flirting with enough, right around 10x. Second and first round knockout, I think he would score enough. So I'm not sure. I don't know. I think he's almost more likely to win a decision. I don't know that he's going to hurt. Yeah, okay. So I'm actually thinking I'm going to go underweight to him. He's probably our more technical striker. He's going to be the more patient guy. He could try and wait for Cutelaba to make a mistake, but I'd rather have the aggressor in Cutelaba, who is dangerous too, very dangerous early. If he gets a knockout, it's probably early, and could be first round, maybe even the first minute where you break the slate right out of the gates. But he's also our more likely wrestler, and if he wins a decision, he can still score more than 100 points. So I definitely prefer Cutelaba. I don't have a strong lean on him winning the fight, but if he wins, I think he scores 100 points, where I can't say the same thing about Bukauskas. So Cutelaba overweight for me. Bukauskas probably in line with the field because I do like this fight. But I would say more likely under than over.
Another fight I would not be surprised. Cutelaba around 30%, Bukauskas 20%. I do think a lot of people do gravitate toward the upside in Cutelaba, even though it's only a $200 price difference. Again, I'm going to be playing Bukauskas and chalkier lineups. If I'm playing Cutelaba, I got to get different in some spot, and I'm more likely to play Cutelaba if I am fading either the main event or the co-main event, just one of those two fights, because he is someone that can outscore both of them. His last 7 wins dating back to 2017. You ready for this? 108, 74, 108, 127, 119, 107, not 1,007. I'm going to update that real quick. And then 131 DraftKings points. In that mix as well, he had an 89-point draw, and that was against Dustin Jacoby when he got like 8 takedowns in round 1 and completely gassed himself. But look at that, only one lower than 100, and that was 2 fights ago. That was 74. I do think Cutelaba isn't as crazy as he once was, but he's still going to come forward. He's still going to throw bombs, and he's still going to shoot some power double legs. So it's definitely a fight I'm going to have a good bit of. Cutelaba, my preferred play. Bukauskas in chalkier lineups is how I will be using him. Let's move on to the third biggest favorites on the slate. Navajo Sterling, minus 310. Ivan Urslon, plus 260. Minus 190 for this fight to finish. Sterling, minus 120 inside the distance. Urslon, plus 425. I mean, Urslon was the guy that just fought Cutelaba. Split decision loss, but that is where Cutelaba scored his 74 points was against Urslon. Yeah, take it away. What are you doing with this one? 2 primary strikers by the looks of it.
Yeah, I think this one stays on the feet. Where Urslon, in my opinion, needs a knockout. He's dangerous early. He could land something big. But Sterling has the same thing. He's the bigger guy. He's just as powerful, if not more dangerous in the first round. And I think after round 1, it's just going to be more and more in the favor of Sterling. So I'll take him to avoid the big shots early and knock out Urslon in the second or the third round. At $9,100, I think the third round's probably a little bit too late. Second round, man, it's still tough because like there's other guys that I'd like to pay up for. Second round, I'd get some exposure, but it could be the first round. I think he could just style in this guy and knock him out in the first round, maybe late first round after accumulating some shots along the way. So I don't know what I'm going to do with him. I think I'll probably be close to the field on him, but underweight is what I'm thinking on Urslon. Urslon does have one of the higher ceilings for underdogs. I just don't think he's very good. So I'm on the Sterling side.
Yeah, plus 225 in round 1 for Sterling. That's 30%. I'm looking at our projected ownership right now. We have that under 30%. So if that just holds naturally, yeah, I mean, I'm going to probably be overweight Sterling. If what we have projected ownership stays true tomorrow, I'm going to have overweight on Sterling. Anytime his round 1 prop is better than his ownership, I'll take any round 1 finish for sure. I wrote it up the same way though. Round 2, it depends. Like you probably at least need 1 knockdown, maybe 2. You need volume, but it's not guaranteed. And you also need like Jasmine, who we're going to talk about, not to wrestle a ton. Benoit not to put up 135. And still competing against Bilal, Malat, stuff like that. But he's still one of my favorites in the upper tier. 30% to finish in round 1. I expect they'll probably be somewhere around there. And Urslon, I mean, he's going to be one of the lowest owned on the card. 10 of his wins are by knockout. 4 plus 425 inside the distance. Plus 425 is 19%. That is also above the ownership that we have for him. So, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Sterling's 6-0, city kickboxing guy, only 27 years old. Big reach advantage, as you see, but he's still pretty green. Like, Urslon has power. If he catches him, he would definitely break the slate. So, yeah, I'm going to probably be overweight on this fight, and it looks to be pretty low owned. Yeah, all right. I'm glad you had me going crazy for a sec, Mark. Congrats to Hoop. I'm looking around like I don't see Hoop around here. And also, 2,500. I will say, you don't need to congratulate Hoop. 2,500 is a lot of money in life. Hoop doesn't need no congrats on 2,500. That man's won a lot. He's also on the daily can lose a lot more than 2,500. But that was really nice of you, Mark. Hey, it looks like he's training back there. Got some bags, got some gloves on. Looking good. What's going on, Big Driggs? Joanne, good to see you as well. No, I'm kidding. You can congratulate anyone, but yeah, Hoopster's won some cheese. All right, let's keep it rolling, Big Marley. Next fight on the card. Talking wrestling. Jasmine Jasdavicius taking on your girl, Jessica Andrade. Minus 320 Jasmine, plus 270 Andrade. Minus 115 for this fight to finish. Open minus 105, now minus 115. So some money on the under. Jasmine plus 155 inside the distance. Andrade plus 400. I said, let me touch on this real quick. Yes, I think that's the most BS thing of all time. How Bilal had to work so hard and dominate for win so long to finally get a chance for the title. There's no chance that he's going to give it up by trying to strike the striker. That dude's going to do everything in his. He didn't care about boring fights all the way up. I don't know why he would care to change his plan now. I think that's the most BS of anything. We'll get to that fight a little bit later, though. But I said your girl Andrade because I feel like you were definitely on her against Mackenzie Dern, I think. That was the one. That was a really good call. To getting up there in age a little bit. Not really 33, but just the wear and tear on her body, the pro fight she's had at 33. When you look at Jasmine at 36, like I don't get concerned at all when I see 36 next to Jasmine. Andrade is taking some damage. So what are you doing in this one?
I like it. I like both sides of it because I could see it just being a binary fight. I don't think Andrade wants that smoke on the ground. If I expect JJ to go out there and want to wrestle a lot, and if the takedowns are there, she's probably going to mop the floor with Andrade, and she could put up a big score. At the same time, if she can't get those takedowns, she can't strike with Andrade, I don't think, and she might get knocked out along the way. I also think Andrade could beat her to the takedowns, but I think that's also in the past. We haven't seen that from Andrade lately, so I just don't expect that. And I think if she was going to do that, she would have done that in her last fight. So I prefer JJ side of this one. 9,200. I think if she wins, she probably does pay that off. So I'll be overweight to her, but I'll be right around the field on Andrade. Maybe overweight to her as well as a hedge. But I do like this fight. I think is a good one to target.
You prefer Urslon or Andrade?
Andrade.
It's tough for me. I think I prefer Urslon slightly just because I'm more confident Jasmine wins. I think she gets takedowns. And when Andrade off her back, I just don't think she's getting up. The control is so good on the Jasmine side. But the inside the distance props are very like plus 400 Andrade, plus 425 Urslon, very similar in terms of ownership. Another thing worth noting on both these fights, again, I put these odds up on Monday. I always update it tomorrow before we go live, but it's very easy, and I like to track the line movement this way. So minus 265, both Sterling and Jasmine were. Now Sterling's minus 310. Now Jasmine's minus 320. Second biggest favorite, third biggest favorite right here, and they're taking money. So that's worth noting. Yeah, I got Jasmine. Inside the distance prop has also came down. I think Jasmine just wrestles early and often, and puts up a big score after that. So I'd say I prefer Jasmine to Sterling and Urslon to Andrade if I had to pick, but I will be playing all four of them. One-way traffic either way. What's going on, Josh? All right, let's keep it rolling. Again, appreciate everyone hanging out. All we ask is like button and subscribe button. It helps us out a ton. Talk about another fight with a lot of line movement. Look at this on Monday. Mike Malott was minus 210. Now he's minus 161. Taking on Charles Radke, who's plus 141. Fight to finish, minus 210. Mike Malott plus 150 inside the distance. Charles Radke plus 180. Can Chuck Buffalo get the job done against Mike Malott, the hometown guy?
I definitely think that Radke's live here. He could weather an early storm or just keep this fight standing. I think he could really take the fight anywhere and win, but Malott is the more dangerous fighter anywhere it goes. He's got the higher ceiling in this one, so I'm cool with both sides. I think if Malott wins, he probably scores 10x or more, and if Radke wins, he probably scores 10x or more. So I usually like that in a fight. The line's been closing on this one, so I'm thinking that that's going to lead me closer to the Radke side, where maybe I'm going to end up 3-3 on this one rather than the 4-2 that I have it at currently. But yeah, I could see me being overweight on either or both of these guys, but I'll take Malott to get the win.
So we see 2.77 takedowns for Malott. What would you set as takedown average or takedown line at if you had to choose?
I would say, I would really put it right at 2, because I feel like 1.5 is like possibly slightly too low, 2.5 slightly too high. So I would just go 2 and let people push if that's what happens.
Hearing 2 makes me like Mike Malott. The reason, and I'm gonna play both. I picked Charles Radke earlier in the week, even when the line was minus 210, 180. But we still do play a salary-based game, an ownership game. When you win, how much do you win? Radke's going to be higher owned than Mike Malott. There's no doubt. Radke's going to be one of the highest owned dogs on the card. If we're talking 7,500 and below, Jack Della, and then it'll be him. And then we're looking at the upper tier. Now, I don't like Jose Aldo. I don't like Natalia Silva. We'll get to them later. But he's sandwiched right in between them. But he's going to be lower owned than Jasmine, than Sterling, than Benoit, obviously than Bilal, Firo. Like, he's in that range where people don't really want to click it much. And he's plus 150 inside the distance at the end of the day in a fight that he has wrestling upside. So just with all that being said, let me see his round 1 prop. Plus 350, where Radke's plus 550. So 350, 22%, which is about what we have his ownership at in round 1. And I think he's live. Like, if he round 2 could very well be live for him because he can mix in takedowns and stuff like that. I'm going to play Malott in chalkier teams and Charles Radke. Like, if I'm fading one of the 2 main events or I'm leaving 700 or something like that is when I'll get to Radke. But again, I said it right in the beginning of the card. I like these first fights a lot more than I like these later fights. Obviously, these 2 are good, but these right here that we're going to talk about, I don't have much interest in them. So yeah, I'm going to be playing a lot of the early stuff on the card. Not a hot take too much, but this fight and the Santos Lee fight looks like 2 that you can get pretty different with, and 2 fights that are expected to finish. Who do you think you'll be more overweight to, Big Marley, Radke or Malott?
More overweight to I would think Radke, just because that $7,300 price is going to be nice to click on. But at the same time, I've only got like 1 lineup that I've made so far, and I feel like it's chalk city. So I'm going to have to think of ways to get different, and maybe Malott, maybe that'll change me to Malott instead.
Yeah. I kind of would let Saber do its thing there. I definitely am going to make sure I get Radke. If I ended up, I had 36% Malott because I'm playing a lot of the 2-5 rounders, eating another chalk, I'd be good with that too. Good inside the distance prop. Again, it's tough when I didn't pick him to win, but it wasn't the strongest lean picking Radke earlier in the week. Yeah, definitely a solid fight. Again, don't turn on the TV too late. 6:30 Eastern fight start. We're gonna see some big scores, some fun fights, I think, to kick off the card. All right, let's keep it rolling. Next fight on the card, we are looking at another mid-tier fight. Marc-Andre Barriault taking on Bruno Silva. Minus 150 Barriault. Plus 130 is Silva. Minus 200 for this fight to finish. Barriault plus 155 inside the distance. Silva plus 185. I mean, man, I do not think I can pick Bruno Silva at this point in his career, so I just naturally have to go Marc-Andre Barriault. But if there was a fight for Bruno Silva to win, Barriault's last his two losses, bad knockouts. I'm worried about the chin. The one thing Bruno Silva does do, he hits hard. Take it away. You have it a 3-star, though. So I guess comparing this fight and the Santos Lee fight, what do you prefer? And then break down this one.
I'll say I prefer the Santos Lee fight because I think Silva's washed. He just doesn't look like he has any interest being in the cage. I think he even said in his last fight he didn't even want to be out there or after his fight. Yeah, he does. I thought he was going to retire after that last one. So if he wins this fight, I think it's got to be a knockout. If it is a knockout, then yeah, he's probably going to be on the optimal lineup. I don't even think he can win a decision based on the way he has looked. I would give Barriault the wrestling edge. I would give him the striking edge, the volume edge. So I could see Barriault winning 30-27 on the cards here, but maybe being too tentative, worrying about that knockout from Silva where he's not bringing the volume that's going to put up a high score, and we end up getting a 65 from Barriault. So I don't love this fight. I'm okay getting away from either side. Barriault's my preferred play if I'm going to be overweight to either one of them. I do plan on being underweight to Silva, though. I'm not even against fading him with limited lineups, but he does have knockout power. Barriault coming off 2 knockout losses. So if I'm putting in 150, I definitely want some Silva exposure too. And this could be one of the ways that we get different either way on the card by Barriault or Silva, because maybe either one of them sucks and the other can take advantage of that.
Easily. I mean, easily. I prefer this fight to Santos Lee if I'm picking. It's mainly the Silva stuff. He looks so bad. I think he's probably either first round or bust. And after that, I just think Barriault's going to pepper the jab, put a pace on him, just throw a bunch of volume, and eventually Silva will wilt that way. Like, I just don't think he's – I'd be surprised to see Barriault fight like a Chris Weidman and just dance around the cage, point fight, and do it that way. Barriault seems like, yeah, he has been knocked out twice, but as the fights go, that's when he starts pouring on the volume, feeling himself. That Marquez fight was awesome in the second round. And once he smells blood and Silva wilting, I think he can pour it on him. Now, let me tell you this. What do you think Bruno Silva's round 1 prop is?
Bruno Silva's round 1 prop, I'd say plus 380.
Open plus 375, now plus 275. That's a 26% chance at a first round finish. You're telling me that he gets that at 7,800? I mean, I'm probably all in. Like, so just seeing that and looking at his ownership, yeah, I mean, we have him like 18%, roughly right around there. If his first round prop is going to be better than his ownership, like I keep saying, you got me into this stuff a lot, but yeah, how do I not play Bruno Silva to get different on this card when it's that good? Is his round 1? Barriault is plus 550 in round 1. So I think that goes to show, and Barriault has a better finishing prop, etc. So I think that shows Bruno in round 1. Otherwise, Barriault takes over after that. Yeah, I like this fight. Again, I prefer it to Santos Lee by a little bit. I do prefer the Cutelaba fight if I had to pick in the mid-tier, and obviously Furo Shevchenko. But, I mean, mid-tier is loaded. You can play no fighter above 8,700 this week, Bilal, and just start going down, and I don't think it's a crazy lineup. Anything else you want to add in this one before we keep it rolling?
No. I do like if I was gonna bet it, I'd bet Barriault.
Yeah, I bet Barriault too. All right, next fight on the card. What are you looking at? Bescott, Alkmana taking on Brad Katona. Definitely butchered his name, but we're going Bescott minus 156, Brad Katona plus 136, plus 225 for this fight to finish. Bescott plus 250 inside the distance, Katona plus 900. So now we're getting into those fights. Not too much interest in too many of these. Now, what I will say, again, looking at the stone, minus 183, 158 on Monday. Now it's minus 156 plus 136. So good money line value for Brad Katona. I'll throw it to you on this. At what number, like he wins. I'm telling you he wins. What number would you take it at 7,600? And then, like, I don't want 62 on this card if I knew he'd score that. But what do you think he would score in a win in a decision? what would you want him to score? And then, break down this fight.
Yeah, I would really want over 70, and I think he would get that. I would think if he wins, he's scoring probably around 80. So, yeah, I would definitely be overweight. I mean, I'd be close to all in if you told me he was for sure going to win, just because I don't feel that good about the underdogs on this card. And I do think Katona is a well-rounded fighter. He's good everywhere. He's just not great anywhere. And I think that Bescott is the better and more dangerous striker in this one. If he can keep the fight standing, then I like him to win. His ceiling would come through a knockout, though. So I don't like Bescott very much for DFS. And I actually just changed it to a 2 for him and a 4 for Katona. Because I'm looking for underdogs on this card, and Katona's live to win. He's live to wrestle. Not only could he score right around 80, but he could also score 100 points. So I'll be overweight to Katona and underweight to Bescott. But my pick, though, was Bescott to win. I think he probably wins 29-28.
I picked Katona. Bescott is literally the favorite because of that one kick that he landed on Umar. Like he got outstruck 58-3, absolutely dominated. But he had one big moment. No doubt the dude has power. Just Brad Katona's a well-rounded fighter. Like he's game on the feet, he's game on the mat, he's got heart, he's got durability, he's got cardio. Like when I saw plus 158, I was just like, yeah, I'm definitely on Brad Katona. Even at this number, like give me the dog. Do I love it for DFS? No, he's plus 900 to win. If you tell me 2 dogs or 2 fighters below him win, I don't think Katona's on the optimal. You did mention wrestling upside, though. This other dude, Bescott, I mean, I'm not going to say he could be cheeks, but it's the UFC. Like, again, he one fight in the UFC, one domination loss. It's Umar, so not taking anything away from him. But what if he just isn't really that good at the end of the day? And Katona is solid. So I don't love the fight much for DFS. Katona is my preferred play. I was debating what to do with Bescott. The thing is, he's plus 250 inside the distance. He has power in his hands. He's going to be super, super low owned. He's right in between Barriault and Bilal. His money line's bad. Like, if he's on the optimal, we have a way better chance at a solo shipper this week than most others on the card. So for that reason, he's in the pool, but I doubt I get too much. But he legit might come in like 12%, 13%, and at plus 250 inside the distance, 28%. Again, maybe not every finish at 8,600. Like, third round isn't optimal. But if you're telling me he finishes this fight, I would go overweight and take my chances that way. So still don't love it, but I like it more than this fight. I like it more than this fight. So it's probably my third least favorite fight on the card for DFS. Next fight on the card, biggest favorite by far, Benoit Saint-Denis taking on Kyle Propelic, minus 1,000 Benoit. Oh, and now it's, let me refresh. Might be minus 1,200 now. Yeah, minus 1,200 now, Benoit. Plus 750 is Kyle. No inside the distance props from what I'm seeing, but I see under 1.5 at minus 160 and under 2.5 on Bovada at minus 550. I mean, Benoit's round 1 prop is something like, I don't know, what do you think? Minus 250, minus 300 or something like that. He has 9,700. I really wish we got Benoit Joel Alvarez. That fight would have been so good. Joel's looking like a beast. Benoit, we know, is a beast. Sucks we don't get that. And come on, Benoit. You can't say no to Gamrot. Like, test yourself a little bit. Get back to the top. But DFS-wise, I'm going to tell you, I want you to break down the fight. But if I'm telling you Benoit wins in round 1, how much are you going to have?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would still want a decent amount, probably a third of my lineups, 33%, something like that. And I do think he wins in round 1. This Propelic guy, he's going to have to keep the fight standing. He's got somewhat slick hands. But I think the only way he wins this fight is by knockout. I think BSD has him covered everywhere. If it's a 3-round striking match, maybe Propelic can keep it close for the first 2-3 minutes, but I just expect BSD to be throwing the harder shots, be pushing forward, landing more shots. But then he can have his way with them on the ground, and that's what I expect him to do until he gets a finish. So For me, it's going to be BSD or pass. I definitely like him, but I didn't love seeing $9,700. I don't think he's a must-have at all. And I would rather have Bilal for $1,000 cheaper.
I would much rather have Bilal, no doubt about it. Even if they were the same price, give me Bilal because he can do it 25 minutes and get you a million takedowns that way. With all that being said, though, you can play both. You can easily play Benoit and Bilal, and I think he wrestles. I think he probably gets a first-round finish. He probably scores 110-ish, 115. He's by far the most likely to get the first minute bonus, 60-second bonus, which if he gets that, he's more than likely going to be optimal. Yeah, he's one of those guys, like if I built my lineups and I had 65% and I loved everything else, I'm so happy. If I had 30% and I loved everything else, I'm probably rolling with it because it's easier to leave money when you don't play them. Like I would be fine playing Jasmine and leaving the 500 this week from Benoit if that means cutting out 35 dupes to 6. Like Jasmine can still wrestle and do it that way. So whereas I wouldn't drop Benoit to Jose Aldo. I just don't see like the upside from Aldo to get there, but I would be fine doing that with Jasmine. But I'm definitely not playing any Kyle. Benoit, though, great play at 9,700. Just how you play him. What does he get you at that price? What do others score in the top tier? How many dogs win to make him fit pretty easily? It's a lot more than just what does Benoit do when you play him this week, whether he's optimal or not. 4 fights left. Not a fight I like much at all in DFS. Jose Aldo, -201. Eamon Zahabi, +171. One of the most likely fights to go the distance on the card, -350 to go to decision. Aldo, +415 inside the distance. Zahabi, +550. If Jose Aldo's on the winner at 8,800, I will not have that lineup. I want you to talk Zahabi, though. I looked at Zahabi and Katona, pretty similar. Great money line value for their price. I do think Katona has more upside with he throws more volume, more likely to wrestle. But again, he's $400 difference. So if very few or no dogs win and Zahabi wins and scores 65, that could be enough at 7,200. So for that reason, I'm keeping him in the pool and capping him for now for 20 teams or less. He's definitely my preferred play. Again, I'm not playing any Aldo at this price. I think it's on the feet. I think it's boring. I think they just trade in jabs, trading a couple kicks, and you're going to get a very low scoring decision. But how do you see it? And then what would you be okay with Zahabi scoring? Or like, what do you think he scores in a win?
Yeah, I definitely don't like this fight. I think I was just about to move it to another 1-star and have 2 on this card because I just don't care about these next 2 fights really. But it's a 2-star because of Zahabi. I think he's very live to win this fight. And if he wins, he could score around 10x, which I think can get it done on this card. So I'll have Zahabi in my pool where I just don't think I'm going to have Aldo. I'll probably X him out completely. Maybe not with 150, but if I'm making 20 or less, he's gone. I picked Aldo to win, but it's also probably more out of like respect and like I would rather watch him win because Zahabi can be in some really boring fights. He's great defensively, but that's not good for DFS. So yeah, for me, it's just going to be Zahabi or pass with the lean towards pass. I would just guess that Zahabi ends up in more of my BSD lineups because that's a way to get to him.
Yeah. Again, if very few dogs win, only 12 fights, we can maybe get there. But again, like I don't love Jack Della when we get there. So like, I'm not playing this much of this chalk dog there. So I'll mix in just naturally some Zahabi. And yeah, like you said, a lot easier to get Benoit then. You can play Bilal, Furo. You can really do a lot of things when you go Zahabi. If 3 dogs win on this card, I would be shocked to see Zahabi on the winner. It's more of a safety play. Not many dogs win. You need to spend up for the upper tier. Appreciate that, Josh. All right, 3 fights left. Another awful fight for DFS. Natalia Silva, -250, taking on Alexa Graasso, +210, +290 for this fight to finish. The most likely to go the distance on the card. Silva +400 inside the distance. Graasso +650. I am playing neither of these girls in 20 entry and below. Just like a million others in the upper tier more. Like, give me Malat over Silva. Malat's already going to be pretty low owned. Let me save 600 and play Cutelaba over Natalia Silva. Let me save 400 with Marc-Andre Barriault to Natalia Silva. If I had to pick a lean, it'd be Graasso. I just don't think she wins. I think Silva's better wherever the fight goes. I think it can stay on the feet. She wins a striking decision. Maybe even if Silva mixes in a takedown or two, as she saw Valentina absolutely own her on the mat. So, yeah, I got none of this in 20 entry and below.
Yeah, I pretty much agree. I think this is just like the last fight. I'm picking Silva to win, but more so because she's on the way up rather than Aldo's not on the way up. He's 38 years old. Silva's probably a future champ. Graasso just coming off of the belt, though, so the lines could be a little bit too wide, and for that reason, my preferred play would just be Graasso. Graasso or pass for me. Don't really want much of her, but she could win, and if she does, she could score around 10x. So same thing as Zahabi. I'll be close on ownership on those two, but since Zahabi is $200 less, I would guess I get more of him.
Yeah, I'm going to play like if I'm playing 150, I'm definitely going to keep Graasso in that pool. When I had to try and make cuts, I always try to have 4 fades and 20 and below. I'm just fading this fight, hoping Silva wins, as I expect Silva to win. 2 fights left, 2 big ones, co-main event time. Again, appreciate y'all hanging out. Like button helps us out a ton, like you guys know. And again, if you're not a member, DGen75 is the promo code. Usually $99 for all of our content. And SaberSim Core with the code DGen75. You get $75 off your first month. Less than $1 a day. MMA going on, PGA going on, NBA playoffs, MLB, NHL playoffs, NASCAR on Sundays. So much going on, so much money to be made. We would love to have you, and definitely join the Discord if you do join. Manon Fiorot -120, Valentina Shevchenko +100, +215 for this fight to finish. Valentina +385 inside the distance. Fiorot +435. Take it away. Are you going to make a rule to lock this fight? How do you see it going? Yeah, this is an interesting one. Valentina, the dog, but money is coming in on her. Heavily favored to go the distance. Take it away.
Yeah, I'm not going to make a rule on this one, but I am going to be heavy on Shevchenko. She'll be my highest owned underdog on the card. I'm picking her to get the win. I think if this is a striking match and we knew it was going to stay on the feet, then we could justify the line for Fiorot. But Shevchenko is a great striker, really the best striker in WMMA history. So I don't completely understand the line. And not only that, but she's been working on her wrestling, and I think that's how she wins this fight. Fiorot came in as a pure striker, had to work on her ground game, and I just don't think it could possibly be have done enough, especially being 35 years old herself, to be at Shevchenko's level on the ground. So I think Shevchenko has more ways to win this fight. I think she has a higher ceiling, and I'm going to be if I was making 20 lineups, I'm probably all in on her. No bullshit. But with 150, I think I'll have like 75% or so.
There's nothing I can argue. I think she has a higher ceiling. I think she does have more ways to win. For me, I just think the ownership gap's going to get too wide, and I think Fiorot's going to be the sharper play. I think I have a better chance to win with less people with my Fiorot teams than Valentina, and our ownership shows that. We have Valentina around 55, Fiorot around the 37 mark. Yeah, I think it's something like that. If you're giving me a favorite who lands over 6 significant strikes per minute, 25 minutes to work at 8,500, and she's going to be 1.5x less owned, like I just naturally am going to go that way more. I'm going to still play a bunch of both. I'm not making the rule, but I very well might have 100% of this fight and the next fight. But yeah, just that ownership, and I think this team does continue. I'm going to probably be more overweight on the Fiorot side. The Blanchfield fight was impressive to me. Like her distance management, and now it's a big cage. Like I believe that fight was too. Yeah, was that fight in the Apex or was it? What do you know off the top of your head? Let me look at this.
I think it was, but I can't say for sure. Or maybe it was New Jersey.
Oh, hold on, UFC Fight Nights.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I can't tell. It was a UFC Fight Night. I can't tell either. Regardless, it Oh no, it was in New Jersey. You're right. You're too sharp. So it was the big cage. And it's the big cage right here again. The reason that's important is, like, if it was a smaller cage and she did against Blanchfield, that'd be even more impressive. We're in a big cage this week as well, but Fiorot's really good at keeping distance, pepper in the jab, pepper in volume. Takedown defense has been great at 91% thus far. Now, it was a bad game plan for Blanchfield. She only shot 3 takedowns, but she couldn't even sniff the takedowns. Like, that's the reason she kept striking. Any shot was telegraphed. It was from too far out. It just did no chance. Now, I'm not comparing Valentina and Blanchfield. I'm not trying to do that, but she at least fought someone that wanted to wrestle a lot. I do think Valentina is going to probably have to wrestle. I favor Firo on the feet in this one, and I think the distance holds out. So not by no means very confident pick is Firo, but when I'm looking at the ownership difference, I feel good about Firo that way. So I'm going to lean into that, and especially because we're going to get to the main event right here. I think Bilal, even at the steam that JDM's getting, I think Bilal is going to be very popular. I would be surprised to see Bilal at like 60% owned and JDM a lot less. And even with that being said, I'm still going to be playing a bunch of Bilal. So I kind of feel the need to get a little different in the co-main. But right here, Bilal Muhammad, minus 175. Jack Della Maddalena, plus 150. Plus 130 for this fight to finish. Jack Della, plus 220 inside the distance. Bilal, plus 400. I made a pretty good-sized bet on Bilal already at minus 185. I think I just can't believe this number. I was going to be on Bilal against Shafkat. Got the Bilal dog money against Leon. This dude's good, man. What he did to Sean Brady was absolutely insane. I look at Sean Brady very, very highly. It's like, yeah, someone asked earlier about the takedown. Do you believe he's not going to shoot a takedown? No, I'd be shocked. If he doesn't, yeah, then I just lost probably a lot of money because Jack Della would piece him up on the feet. I don't know how you could be that dumb. I don't think Bilal is a dumb fighter by any means. Wrestling for days, baby. I mean, Pasil Hafez on short notice controls takedowns. Jack Della was losing to Gilbert Burns, 2 judges' scorecards, two first rounds. If he doesn't get that knee, he's not in this fight. Like, this is a completely different fight. We've seen him controlled. We've seen him taken down. Bilal's way better than Gilbert at wrestling. He's way better than Hafez at wrestling. I mean, Bilal's a problem. Whatever people want to say about him, this dude's, I don't know when I'm fading this dude anytime soon. He's not fighting Islam. I'm picking Bilal more times than not. So, yeah, when I saw minus 175, I couldn't believe it. On Mondays, you see it was minus 205. Break down the fight and why. Where's this line movement? Like, what's happening? Is it that submission video that we saw online? Is it people just hate Bilal? Like, how is this line moving this way?
Yeah, I don't know. I liked him when he was minus 2. I don't even remember what 2 plus minus 230. I think it was. I was still on the Bilal side. So maybe it's what you mentioned earlier that he said he's going to strike in this one. That wouldn't be great, but he is a really good striker. I don't think it would be terrible for him to spend, 15 minutes on the feet in this one. But at the same time, for him to look like a minus 200 favorite, you got to go out there and wrestle. And I do think he mixes in 5+ takedowns, even if he does strike a lot in this fight. And that is probably enough to get it done. I don't think Maddalena is going to have anything for him off of his back. And if Bilal wants it there, I think he's going to end up getting it there. So Bilal's my favorite. My favorite on the card. I don't know if I'm going to have more of him than Valentina, but those are my 2 favorites on the card. I'm going to load up on them and then spread around everybody else. Around those 2, I'll be underweight to Maddalena, but I do think I'll be pretty much all in on this fight. If not all in, like 95% of my lineups will have this fight.
I think I'm a little gun shy after last week. Tried to full fade to Ritter. Absolutely did not work in 20 entry and below. Very hurtful by Bo. So I'm this week going to lock Bilal in 20 teams or less. I already know that. I already bet big on him. Like, if Bilal loses, it's not going to be good for your boy over here. But I'm not telling everyone else to do that because with all this line movement, I do think Bilal gets steam. So everything I said about Firo, you can say about Jack Della. Like, for his ownership compared to what Bilal's is and the price, and if he wins for 7,500, it has to be knockdowns. It has to be volume. It's going to score. I'm not telling everyone else to lock Bilal like I am. I'm going with my I know fights, which I don't usually do too much in MMA, really much in DFS. I try and play game theory, portfolio management, all of that. But MMA is one of the few sports where, yeah, I watch it every week. It's easier to take stands on something like that than a football game that so many random things can happen, or baseball or anything like that. So yeah, I'm going to lock Belal in 20 teams or less. Hope he gets the job done, and I expect him to. I expect wrestling. He's a good, and the threat of him wrestling makes him so good on the feet too. That jab is nice. The kicks are good. Like, he's tough. He'll fight for your dollars. So yeah, it should be a good fight. I know a lot of people down on Belal, and also even more of a reason to root for Belal. Dana pretty much said, Belal wins, we're going to get Islam and Topuria. We need to see that fight. If Belal loses and it's Jack Della, sounds like Islam's going up to fight Jack Della to be a double champ, and you're going to get Oliveira against Topuria. So I love Charles. I need to see Islam Topuria. That fight would be so good. Close it out for us, Big Marley. Yeah. Final thoughts on this card. Anything you want to say before we get on out of here?
Go Belal, go Shevchenko. If they get it done, hopefully I'll be in a good spot as well. But hopefully it's a good card. 200K solo would be sick, but I'm fine sharing it. Good luck to you, Title. Good luck to everybody listening. Let's ship it.
I'm fine sharing it too, but yeah, solo would be that'd be nice over there. Not too often can people say they won 200K in MMA. This is a week you can say that. Good luck, everyone out there. Again, DGen75 is the code for $75 off. If you want to join projections, ownership, everything will be up tomorrow. Good stuff as always, Big Marley. You enjoy your nice weekend. Everyone else out there, enjoy the weekend. Good luck for Big Marley on Title Town. Peace. Be safe.